Have you ever found yourself just getting busy with tasks that really are not all that important, almost avoiding the things that you really should be doing in your business? Uh, I know I am 100% guilty of this, and Rick Tracewell joins me today. He is the author of The Uncomfortable Comfort Zone, where he digs into why this happens and how we can overcome it just by simply being aware of why and what we're doing, and take that and then pivot our focus to grow our business in a way that we're not feeling guilty, we're not beating ourselves up, but we can actually really lean in and build a business that we love. My name is Craig, and I'm the owner of Daisy Financial Coaching. Our team is on a mission to make your therapy practice permanently profitable. If you own a solo or group practice, we're here to help you build a business that creates more time, makes more money, and serves more people. This is the Therapy Business Podcast. All right, Rick, how are we doing? Thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Not too bad. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig in. I know we got a lot to talk about. So you wrote a book. It's called The Uncomfortable Comfort Zone, which just the title alone, I'm like, okay, yeah, I that resonates. I feel that in my core. But tell us a little bit about you, what you do, about the book.
Well, basically, the book came out of necessity. A lot of people can relate to that. It was something that the uncomfortable comfort zone, was just my little kitschy way of describing it to myself. Never told anybody, of course. So, which I think most of the people who are the target for this book, as far as people who need it, they can relate to that. But it just became something that I'm a marketing guy. So over the years, I've been doing marketing since 1990. See the gray. So I've dealt with a lot of my clients who are similar to me in that they've either got they're the owner and there's an employee or two or three, and that's about it. And what I found was that most of them have they're either going through it or they've been through this uncomfortable comfort zone, which is essentially it's a sense of being stuck where you really don't know what to do next, or you're just not comfortable in doing, like with your own ability. And so you end up just staying busy, which I'm sure you can relate to that. Anybody who's a business owner at all, you're staying busy and staying busy. So to everybody else, it looks like, man, Rick's really, kicking ass. He's just doing all kinds of work. And yet internally I'm going, oh my God. So that's kind of what this book's about. It's just awareness. It's letting you know that you're not alone. Other people go through it. We're not all experts in all fields, right?
Yes, man, you're speaking my language. I've been there. I feel like I'm always in some kind of uncomfortable comfort zone, what you're talking about, where it's like, I know I should be doing something. I don't know what it should be. So I'm just kind of doing things to be doing things. And a lot of times they're not even that important. And so.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I get stuck in the mundane, or it's like, oh, let me create some content for the sake of creating content, and there's no purpose behind it maybe. There's just 1,000 things I probably could be doing to move the business forward, but I'm just not sure where to go. And so in your experience, why do people get stuck in that? Or how do you think that happens? Or where does that trap come from?
I think part of it, there's a ton of things, but I think a big part of it is that when we're the owner, we're the head honcho, right? So we don't, and we probably got ourselves there for a myriad of reasons, right? So we either hated being told what to do, or we, whatever it was. But the thing of it is that we're the master of our own domains, so to speak, and there isn't somebody standing behind us, tapping us on the shoulder going, are you supposed to be doing that right now? Nobody. So we have, it's all on our shoulders, which kind of adds even more pressure to some people, to a lot of us.
Oh, yeah.
So you end up, it sounds like you've been through the same thing. You work your butt off for 12 hours, 16 hours sometimes, and you get to the end and you're like, I don't feel like I accomplished anything. I got stuff done. I was busy, but I didn't really help the overall business like I wanted to when I started it, or where it's at right at the moment, or whatever it is. So I think that's part of it, is that we're too in control.
Man, yes. And I tell people a lot who are not business owners, that's kind of the plus minus. I'm like, I get freedom of time. I get to dictate my day, But at the same time, it's really tough because I get freedom of time and I have to dictate my day.
That's
It's
exactly right.
no
Yep.
one
That's
telling me where
exactly
to go. It's really up to me. And if I feel like slacking off or, without
I
intention,
mean,
I'm all
that
about
was a big appeal, right? I mean, that's why
right.
we did this. It's why we started doing stuff on our own, but it's a catch-22.
It is a catch-22, and I've personally learned I'm going the times where I feel bad about myself is when I'm avoiding work by slacking off or doing those things versus baking time off, which I think is super important as well. But I
Yep.
do feel like there's this innate pressure out there to do the whole hustle and grind. If you're not working 12 like hours a day, then you don't care about your business. Have you seen that?
Yeah, yeah, and I just don't I think that's a misnomer. I think that it puts people in a pigeonhole situation, you know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
I think that people, and this is what I say in the book, because as you can tell, I'm not an expert, so the stuff in the book is not specific because, somebody could be reading the book that is a mechanic, somebody could be reading the book that is a podcaster, somebody could be reading the book that's a landscape, expert, you know what I mean? We all have our reasons for starting our own business, and usually it's because we think we can do it better or we find that there's a need for it. That's
Yes.
pretty much the basics of being an entrepreneur. And so what ends up happening, and I'll use myself as an example. I'm a marketing guy. I'm a creative guy. I do all kinds of things, and but being a finance expert is not one of them. Hiring and running people, managing people is not one of them. So it's not that I can't, it's that I don't I'm not an expert at them. So I end up doing all the stuff, like I said, like we talked about, keeping busy doing the things that I know, but
Mm.
it only goes so far.
Yes, getting trapped in that of yeah, these are the almost low hanging fruit, and the other things can for me overwhelm is sometimes it or just I don't even know what it maybe there's a bit of fear in there, just it stresses me out
Yeah,
trying to do something that's just out of my comfort zone or that might take extra energy or extra thought. So I get stuck trapped in my oh I know how to write a blog. I'll just sit down and do that real quick instead because that's
right,
in my
right.
wheelhouse.
It's so easy to do, and so just to make sure everybody understands, the uncomfortable comfort zone is my way of saying, or my way of describing a situation where, uh, it's comfortable because we know what to expect, because we're doing the things that we are comfortable with, right? But it's uncomfortable because we're not doing what we should be doing, but we're in that comfort zone because we're doing, you know what I mean? It's like this
Mhm.
this horrible, circular cycle that's yeah, it's so yeah, that's what I describe.
So, and it sounds like what you're talking about, even in yourself, you writing the book itself, because you even going back to what you said, you're like, I'm not an expert in this. I'm just sharing what I've learned along the way. You writing the book is taking that step out of the comfort zone. It sounds like to me, at least.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, in fact, the book was published on, New Year I mean, on, Christmas Eve because I don't know if you're like this, during December area, toward the end of December where nobody's doing anything, I finally put my mind to, "Okay, I'm gonna finally finish this damn thing," you know? So and it's not a book you have to read cover to cover by any stretch, and it's very simple to read. I kept it very not simplistic, but more general, again, because I don't know who's reading it. So it's more about, I have found anyway, that acknowledging and recognizing things is the way to move forward in them. If you don't know what they are, then how can you move forward in that area? So that's what the book is about.
Yes, I think that's so key, and I find I get frustrated with myself when I get stuck in these cycles. I know a lot of business owners do, but um, why do we revert to that comfort zone? I guess, or what's your opinion on that? Of I'm just going to keep doing this playing this game and doing this dance, and then complaining about how things are not changing or how I'm overwhelmed and stressed, and yet there's just something about not wanting to make that change or make that pivot. In your experience, what's the root of that? Do you even know? I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of it is we all have, I mean, everyone has an ego, right? So we even have an ego with ourselves. Like I don't have a problem with that. I'll fix it later. And then 6 months or 6 years later, it's still it's still not fixed. So I
Yes.
think it's like we talked about at the beginning. We keep ourselves busy. We keep, it feels on some level, which is the uncomfortable comfort zone. It feels on some level like we're working our butts off, but we're just not getting there and we don't know why. And that's kind of the whole point I was trying to make with this book, is that each chapter just kind of talks about a situation that you may find yourself in. Some people will recognize themselves in every chapter. Some people recognize themselves in chapter 2 and 6, and they're just about different things
Mm.
in business that I have found. That's kind of what it is. It's more about recognition, and hopefully by the end of the book or by the end of the chapter, you won't let yourself slip back into that uncomfortable comfort zone, because once you're aware of something, it's hard to kind of go la 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 la, even though we're good at that too.
Yes. Yes. No, 100%. So it's not each chapter almost speaks to a different type of person. Is that kind of what you're saying? Or a different situation or a different reason?
Yeah, different situations, and I mean, there's a thread that goes throughout all of them, right? I mean, we're all solo business owners. I feel, uh, and this, I'm a marketing guy, so I turned the book idea around and upside down just to make sure that I was being able to help as many people as possible, right? So for me, I think that anyone who is listening to this podcast, who picks up the book, that kind of thing, they're already showing that they know they're in a position that they want to get out of.
So they've got that awareness, and now it's like, okay, this is the next step into maybe, I guess, changing that trajectory.
Yep, yep,
Okay,
absolutely.
great, great. And so, um, even in, I guess, as we're talking, I'm thinking through, okay, here's some of the scenarios I would find myself in. If you can, or speak to, I guess, the different things you speak to in the book, the different chapters or the different snapshots of what that might look like.
I would say probably the one chapter that I have found is probably the most needed when it comes to solo business owners, and it's a very common thread through most super small businesses, which is what I call them. I think that they're in the, let's say, the business industry, like financing, franchising, that small businesses that are growing, um, in that area. When it comes to super small businesses, um, a lot of people don't realize that if you have a business, like if I asked you, let's say you have a small, whatever, cigar shop, whatever it is, and I ask you, so if you have to leave for 2 weeks, not
Mhm.
nothing, no emergency, I'm not trying to make it weird, but let's say it's a last minute thing. I don't know. You have a second home, and it gets flooded, and you have to go take care of it for a bit. So if you have to leave your business for 2 weeks, what happens? And if the answer is, and most of it is, well, the business just stops.
Yeah.
If it does, if that's the answer to the outside world who deals with businesses on a higher level, you really don't have a business. You have a job that you created for yourself, which is most of us, right?
Yes.
So it's really about putting together systems. I mean, if you ever read the E Myth?
Yes. Yep. I'm familiar with it.
Okay. Yeah, so most people have at least heard of it, and generally speaking, Michael Gerber, who wrote that, genius guy, what he says in there is that if you have systems in place, that means you and I can step away for a day or 2 days or 2 weeks, and at least the business people who are helping out know what to do when the phone rings. Do step one, step two, that kind of thing. And 99% of us do not have that. We may think we have that, but we don't have that. So that's kind of that chapter right there, I think, will resonate with most everyone, even somebody who's not as stuck as other people are.
Completely. And, I know there's a direct correlation if somebody's a solopreneur and they're the sole only person in the business. But even a lot of people who have a team, just like you were talking about, they may go and they may think they can step away, but they're taking their computer with them if they're on vacation, and they're checking their emails and responding on Slack to their team, versus being able to step back and just know
And
that when you came back,
their
it
business
worked.
phone goes to their cell phone anyway, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you wanna be able to go and come back and be like, "Wow, we made more money with me gone than than we did, last
Right.
month when I was here." Uh,
Yeah, so that's what that one chapter, it basically says, you don't have to sell or franchise your business, but if you make the operations as if you're going to, oh boy, can it
mm,
help you. It helps you. I mean, as you know, and I know, being able to spend time with your family, being able to actually take care of ourselves, like take a break, read a book, go to a movie, go to the gym. You know what I mean? It's like having systems in place, it just relieves a lot of the stress.
yes, very much. I agree. and I mean, and I need it is what been working hard at this for years, and now I'm at a
Yeah.
place where I can take a couple of weeks vacation, and I know my team's got it, and I don't even have to
Yep.
stress. However, I still don't feel like my business has longevity in the sense of I was just talking about this recently. I was like, if I were to die tomorrow, what happens to the business? Does anybody know how to access these things that only I've been accessing, or does anybody even know how to get in contact with does anybody know who my clients are to even let them know that I'm gone? And so, and then what
Right.
happens to that? Does it just dissolve? Is it just gone? And so even those pieces to me, and that's probably a huge important thing I should be working on. And yet I just don't.
Well, that's what I mean is that we all, and that's where, and maybe I should have named the book La 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 La, because we all have to, I mean, we have to do that sometimes, right? But I think that's kind of what without having somebody behind us going, hey, man, you should actually be working on this thing over here. Without that, what do we do? We're not all
Yes.
perfect, so it's just more of having that awareness. It's nothing you have to do overnight. It's nothing you have to, I even say in the book, it's not, this book doesn't tell you you have to go get a loan, you have to go hire 10 people. It's none of that. It's more about just being aware of certain areas that we're strongest in and weakest in, but it's only to ourselves. We don't have to admit it to anybody else, right? It's just
Yes.
a thing to take a step here, take a step there. Don't forget this is where we want to go, so we can take a week to handle stuff and then come back to it, that kind of thing.
Yes. Okay. So and to your point there too, like even going to what I was just talking about with if I die, what happens to the business? It's important, but it's not urgent. And so speaking to that, you're saying it's even just the awareness of knowing that's something that needs to be addressed, but don't
Yep.
put so much pressure or beat myself up so much for not like
Absolutely.
dropping everything else and doing it right now. Is that right?
Exactly right. Yeah. So it's a super easy read. And I mean, it's a 6 by 9 book and it's only 49 pages,
Oh, great.
and the ending of the book, just to let you know, because it's not a specific book about your particular situation or Jim's particular,
Mm.
because it's general. At the end, I have a chapter that lists really good business books in different areas, so that and I give reasons why, and I give the name of the book and the author, so that you can kind of, if somebody recognizes themselves, like one book might be about finance, one book might be about marketing, they can see it within themselves, and they can kind of continue their path to taking further steps. There's one about podcasts, and there's also one about really good YouTube channels. We all know, there's really good ones out there. So it kind of gives them some direction, but they choose the direction, not me.
Yes, man, that's perfect. And so going back to that awareness piece, I think I saw you said awareness almost plays a role before anything actually changes. So I guess, what is awareness even doing? Because I think there is that key of like, oh, I know it's there. I know I have to do it, but I'm still going to avoid it because it's stressful and overwhelming. How is that shift in awareness a positive thing, or at least count as momentum or motion towards solving it? Does that make sense?
Yes. So I'm a marketing guy, and literally while you were finishing that sentence, I thought of an analogy because I'm king of analogy.
Yes, good. That's what I
I
need.
thought of an analogy that I think will at least make you laugh. So if you and I are standing there and you walk by me and I know you and I go, hey, by the way, you stepped in some dog poop. Can you keep walking without I'm ignoring the fact that you have dog shit on your shoe?
That's
No.
true.
So that's kind of what this book is about, is that it's awareness so that you don't, I mean, you can keep walking a little bit till you get to some place where you can clean it off, but you're not going to completely ignore it. So that's kind of what I'm hoping the book does. That you got to take care of that. So
Yeah.
it doesn't, you don't completely ignore it for the rest of the day. You just maybe just for a few minutes or you know what I mean? That's kind of, I mean, it's
Yes.
a bad analogy,
No,
maybe.
that's a
I
great
don't know.
analogy. You're solving the problem of you don't know what you don't know, which I think is what I find, and I think a lot of people find themselves in is I don't know what I should be doing, and I don't know. So would show up to coaching sessions with my coaches, and they're like, "What do you want to talk about today?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I know we need to figure something. Like, there's something to be done. I don't know
Exactly.
what it is." And
Exactly.
so, okay, so what are some steps that we can make or shifts we can make to start getting some momentum on this?
So I think, at least as far as the book is concerned, I mean, I don't take an authority stance, like I said. So I'm not. In fact, even start the whole cadence of the book is, hey, before you start reading this thing, give yourself some credit. I mean, we both know this very well. Not everybody is cut out for this. Not everybody has the stones to go out on their own and be their own income. That's very tough. So I kind of tell people, you already showed that you're tough. You've already showed that you can get through hard times. So give yourself a break. So I don't come at it like you're a screw up and you didn't know this and you
Mhm.
shouldn't have started a business. I don't do that. So that's kind of the whole. It's kind of like, you know, relax and just glance through this thing, look at one chapter, forward a bunch of pages and look at another chapter. And if you see stuff that you recognize, you don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to fill out a workbook. There's none of that. So it's really just a way for people to relax a little bit and identify things on their own. I mean, we all know if you read a chapter that says something about exactly what you go through, you're going to go, oh boy. What's nice about that recognition is that you realize first off that you're not alone, that other people
Mm.
go through this. And that's a huge thing because then you don't feel as bad about yourself. Like, some of us sometimes we go, oh, I'm such an idiot. There's none of that by reading this book. So I think that's the biggest thing is recognition, knowing where, I mean, we each know where we need to work on things. And it's that kind of thing. It's like, by the way, you have dog crap on your shoe in this chapter.
Yes. Now you're aware. I've found, and this is our philosophy too, and we tell people on sales calls all the time, or even our clients all the time, if they feel like they've messed up, or it's almost they come to us. We work with people on profitability, and managing money, which no one teaches us in the first place how to do that when you get a
Nope.
business.
Right.
But we go about it, and they're almost speaking with shame of how they made this decision, or how they got trapped in credit card debt, or how X, Y, and Z fill in the blank, and it's just reassuring them, you know what, like you should be just to
Yes.
what you just said, pat yourself on the back, be proud that you did what it
Yep.
took to survive and to get you to this point. You did everything you had to do to get here. Were they all the best decisions? No, but they maybe were the best. What you did the best you could with what you had. You didn't
But
know
you
you
made
had.
decisions.
Yeah,
Even a
exactly.
decision not to do anything is a decision.
That you made them. And so now we're going to refine it, and we're going to get you a clear path to make the right ones, or to figure out,
Yep.
be aware of those things. So I think that's huge. Is just let go of that past, and give yourself credit. And going back to even what you and I talked about, I think before we started recording, which was just not being the expert in something, and how I think that is
It's okay.
valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's face it, when we're business owners, there is a sense of pride of being a business owner. For some people, having worked as an employee forever and then becoming a business owner, it's kind of cool to be able to, you're a chamber mixer and you go, "Oh, I'm the owner."
Yes.
So there's a sense of pride, but I think that also puts a little pressure on
Mhm.
ourselves, not nobody else, but on ourselves, that we're supposed to know it all. We're supposed to know exactly where we are, where we're going, what's going to happen next week, how much budget we have, and what the profitability, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And so I think we have that sense of pride outwardly, but inwardly we're probably going, "Ugh, I wish I knew that. I can't tell anybody I don't know that." You know what I mean?
Yes, feeling that shame, or and I think about that's kind of what makes us stand out from the competition, at least, is that we struggle. I say struggle. We need something like a money system in order for us to be successful. If we didn't have it, and we need something
Yeah.
simple, which is why we can reiterate it in simplicity. I always go to the back to analogies. My marketing
Yep.
friend.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
if I want washboard abs, and I'm going to go hire a personal trainer, do I want the guy who was born with them, and he's just like, hey, you just got to have good genetics and you can have
Let's
it?
change the subject. This is too close.
Yeah.
I'm
Or do
starting
I
to feel
want
bad about myself.
exactly? See, or do I want the guy who had to work hard to get them, and he knows, and he still has to work hard to keep them, or so he knows the path and the struggle and the temptation and the all the pieces that go along with it, because he's in those trenches too, trying to get
Yep.
exactly what you're trying to get.
And that's kind of what this book does. It's giving you permission to chill out. This is not rocket science. This is not life or death. It's really just, like I said, give yourself some credit for where you've gotten so far. Now it's just pivot. That's it. Pivot a little bit. You've been through rough stuff before. Give yourself a break. Okay, fine. You didn't do certain things. Big deal. Now you know. Let's move on to this area. And again, I need this book more just as much as anybody. So I'm not an expert telling you what to do.
That's hey, we learn best when we teach, and and I think that's excellent. And if we all waited until we were perfect experts in something before we released it to the world, none of us would have anything um, to learn from or to pull from.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
Well, you're, doing coaching. I mean, sure, you've heard this before, and it makes perfect sense when people think about it. Most therapists, psychologists, therapists, they all have their own psychologists and therapists they go
yes,
to, right? So that
yes.
should kind of tell you.
Nope, exactly. And I think, if you're a mental health therapist out there and your marriage is struggling, then sometimes going into a couples counseling session, you might be feeling like, who am I to be doing this? But it's what they're going through, and if you struggle with
Absolutely.
depression, you know what they're going through. So you have
Mhm.
firsthand knowledge, and that can create some empathy and some compassion and understanding that
Yeah,
we're all just humans trying to get through get through this
exactly.
together.
Exactly. Yep.
So. Perfect. Well, how can we find your book so that everyone listening can go buy copies immediately?
Okay, so it's at most sex shops and liquor stores. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right, great. So just next time you're rolling through,
Maybe it
everyone's
should be.
stopping by on their way home from work. I know.
Like everything else, it's on Amazon. It's called Uncomfortable Comfort Zone. It's on Amazon. It's also on Audible, which is also part of Amazon. So there's an audiobook as well, which makes it really easy to listen to. And I think the audiobook is like an hour. It's not like one of those 10-hour books that we never get through. And I have a website for people who want to get a little more info about what the book is about. There's even a sample chapter, the opening chapter, that kind of gives an idea of the book. And so they can go to uncomfortablecomfortzone.com, but that's really long. They can use that, but they can also go to an acronym of it, uczbook.com. So UCZ, Uncomfortable Comfort Zone,
Love it.
uczbook.com. And they can reach out to me through that. There's links to get the book. And like I said, there's examples and, things like that. So it's a one-page website. Doesn't go any further than that.
Perfect. We'll make it simple on everybody. We'll link straight to the website and straight to Amazon as well. So that way, all you got to do is look in the notes. You can find those links and
Right.
snag a copy. Listen to it while you're at the gym. Read it, whatever it is. Say, I know I'm going to get a copy. I'm super interested and invested. But Rick, I really appreciate your time
Yeah,
and sharing
no
your
problem.
wealth of knowledge. Thanks for joining us on the Therapy Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a practice owner that you may know. If your practice needs help getting organized with its finances or just growing your practice, head to therapybusinesspod.com to learn how we can help.